What's going on, all you gamers? Here we are back with some more Outriders, and today I'm going to be showing you the full build guide for this fella right here, the Akari Pyromancer hybrid build. Now this one is a really fun build to use. It is absolutely amazing. It's going to clear the content, it's going to be nice and easy, and most importantly it's going to make it so that you can use those Inferno rounds, which, to be perfectly honest, on the Pyromancer sometimes is a bit tricky to put into a build. They seem to take away from a lot of damage in other aspects. This right here is just absolute fun gameplay, and just really nice for clearing the content and clearing it kind of easy. This is a very leisurely build and a really fun one at that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck on a little bit of footage about how the run kind of goes. You can tell if it's to your playstyle, and then after that we'll kick off the build.
About those energy spikes, the insurgents had a functioning power cell down here.
Right, so from that hopefully you can see just how nice and leisurely this is. You're running, you're gunning, you're heat waving, everything. Really nice, and you do some fair chunk of change damage with everything in your build. It's a very hybrid build, not even through the skill tree kind of as much, because I haven't gone anywhere near as much firepower as I originally intended. But this one right here I felt was one of the stronger builds using the Inferno rounds, and mainly for the sheer fact that it was really nice overall. So what does it involve? Right, so as you can see, very pretty much bang on with all the numbers. They're quite high, they're not bad, I'm not going to lie. If you have a look, we kick it off with 146k firepower and 145,000 anomaly power. You're not going to get very much more level than that. Just over here we start off with 23.4k health and 105,000 armour. All in all, a really strong tanky build, really nice, and it just makes it so that your build is viable in pretty much all content. Over here, and this will be the only thing you'll be using in this build. Don't worry too much about these guns. If you did want to switch off, you very well could, but don't forget you'll want Inferno rounds up constantly, meaning most times you don't really want to be switching off your main weapon. So the one I've chose is the Damascus Offering. It gives crit damage, status power, and skills life leech. It is a really nice weapon for this build. What we've chucked on it is the two mods that I find really well for hybrid builds, and that's Fortress, receive up to 43% damage bonus based on your armour. We have this up constantly, it means we get 43% damage bonus on everything. And of course another great anomaly and firepower mod, and that's Anomaly Enhancement. Receives a passive firepower boost equal to 30% of your anomaly power. That right there is where we're getting our damage from into our firepower, meaning that we kind of hit like a truck with our gun without even really needing to do much. It's really nice, and it means that we can spec mainly pretty much into all anomaly. So going over to the pieces here, I'm not going to go into it too much because we've got 3 pieces of Akari. I use them pretty much all the time. I'm sure you know what they are. That right there will give you the bonus of everything you capture in your heat waves generates 50% anomaly power, meaning your anomaly power kind of goes through the roof. Now, the helmet, what we've got on is Fire Tsunami. Heatwave increases the width of the firewall. Now that is amazing in pretty much all Akari builds. Keep it on, you'll definitely not regret it. Just after that, and we've got Burnt Out. Heatwave, damaged enemies take 25% more damage for 8 seconds. Again, every single time you get those kind of modifiers, the ones 25%, 10%, 15%, chuck them on your build. They're so good, even if you haven't got the strongest build. So say for example your firepower is 120 or anomaly is a little bit less, because you're doing such an amount of vast damage. If you can get that to over 100%, you're going to be doing ridiculous numbers and hitting things much harder than you would for just boosting your firepower 10-20k. It always works best in your favour to try and put on the extra percentage modifiers whenever you can. Just over here, and we've got the upper armour of the Akari. Now with this, we've got Damage Absorber, increases your armour by 52,659 and resistance by 10%. I've said it in a few videos, this is just my go-to standard. I absolutely love this mod. If you're making a build and you don't want it to fall over, Damage Absorber is usually the way to go. This on your build with a few other key things in your skill tree pretty much make you unstoppable in most times, especially with really nice regen builds like what we've got here again. Just underneath, and we've got Heatwave. The skill can be activated one more time before triggering the cooldown. Now that gives us 2, meaning that we're going to hit things for 50% harder when we hit them with our heatwaves. Just down here we've got the waistcloth of the Akari. Now this is the lower armour. Now the mods we've got on it are Anomaly and Echo, grants 3,276 firepower and 11,484 anomaly power bonus on skill activation for 15 seconds. Now it doesn't sound that amazing, but honestly in kind of hybrid builds like this where you're relying on a bit of firepower and you're relying on your anomaly, it's really nice. It's not the biggest stats in the world, there's no point me lying to you, but it is really nice, and obviously it allows us to change the bottom slot, giving us that extra third heatwave from Ride the Wave. Heatwave, the skill can be activated one more time before triggering the cooldown. This gives us 3 heatwaves, meaning that everything we're going to be shooting at, because we've captured them in those heatwaves, gives us 75% extra damage on top of it. Absolutely great, and it means we're going to hit everything much harder. Just down here, I've grabbed any gloves that I can get with anomaly power. You're probably seeing the main thing we're going for is anomaly, anomaly, anomaly. The reason for that is because it's going to factor into our firepower. Our firepower is going to go up because of the mod we're using on our gun, Anomaly Enhancement. Now what we've got is anomaly power, cooldown reduction and status power. Now I really like this, we're hitting a lot of things with flames, so it does work in our favour. If you wanted to change that last one up, say for example you wanted close range damage or something along those lines, you very well can. The last one is down to your preference, but make sure you've got anomaly power and cooldown reduction, and the next one is pretty much up to your choice. The 2 mods that's coming on it is Bullet Absorption. Feed the Flames, replenishes 33% of ammo in your magazine for every enemy affected by the skill. This right here is pretty much integral in the build. Without this and another mod, we're not going to be keeping our ammo up. So pretty much make sure you put this on, and it will mean that you're able to use your volcanic rounds at all times. And Bullet Kindling, deal 20% more damage against enemies inflicted by a burn. Basically, now we're doing 20% more damage, everything is on fire constantly, you're always generating that 20% extra damage. Don't forget you've also got the modifier from your fortress, and you've also got the 75% when you're kicking it off with the heat waves. Really nice, and it means everything is getting a lot of burn damage at all times, as well as all that extra damage from the extra buffs. Now last but not least, and this one I unfortunately couldn't get exactly how I wanted it, anomaly power, close range damage and long range damage. For myself, if I could, I probably would have gone anomaly power, close range damage or status, and the last one would definitely be cooldown. We're lacking a little bit of cooldown, so definitely if you can, chuck some cooldown on it just to make sure you never run out of being able to get back your ammo. The 2 mods we've got are Flame Grasper. This one right here is Flames enables absorption of 2 additional targets. What that means is you're going to want to make sure there's at least 3 targets when you're using your Feed the Flames. That way you're going to get back 99%, pretty much 100% of your ammo in your mag. And finally, last but not least, and one of my favourite kind of mods in the game, Twice as Hot. Whenever a skill is used, inflict extra 39,901 damage to all enemies afflicted with burn. This is really good for this build. Honestly, we're very tanky. So if you're in amongst everything, or if you've shot further away, don't forget, if it's on fire, whatever you're using after that is going to be taking extra damage. So as soon as you hit everything with your gun, apply the heat waves afterwards. That way they'll be taking damage, even if they're at long range. If you're in amongst everything, don't forget, if you're out of your heat waves, if you want to, just pretty much click that right analog in and do your melee. That's also going to give a lot of damage. It's really nice and it makes this build very well rounded. Now, one honourable mention would have to go to this mod right here. If you want to swap something around, if you want to try and chuck this into the build, you may well be able to make this work, and it will hit like an absolute beast because of all the extra damage, and that's Strength from Fire. Heatwave, using the skill, grants 10% weapon damage bonus per each affected enemy for 8 seconds. You will be getting a ridiculous amount of extra damage from your weapon if you can fit this into the build. Now, I found how I've made it is best probably for solo, but if you wanted to try this, you very well could, and it may work out favourably in co-op. So, see what you prefer. So quickly going over the skills, we've got the 3 heat waves. If you want to apply that to anything that's big, basically your elites or any of the smaller enemies, they're going to absolutely disintegrate. And don't forget, everything's going to take up to 75% extra damage because you've got 3 casts of it. This right here is your volcanic rounds. Make sure that is up constantly. That's what you're going to want to make sure, because if it's not, then you're not going to be hitting or doing what you're supposed to do with your build. You can do that quite easily, and one thing I would say, the gun that I used, you don't actually need it. If you had a purple gun, say for example an LMG, and it had 150 in the mag, that would probably work out better. The only reason I was using that legendary is because it comes with anomaly enhancement as standard. If you can find one with that, with higher stats, chuck that in your slot instead. Now, just over here, and we've got Feed the Flames. This right here is your choice. If you want someone to stand still, hit them with this. If you want to get your ammo back, hit them with this. If you want to buff your anomaly power, hit them with this. It is completely your choice. But basically, if you hit them with this and then you apply your heat waves, you will be doing a considerable bit of damage. But even if you screw up the rotation and you do this afterwards, it doesn't matter, because where everything's on fire, once you've hit them with this, you'll do a lot more damage anyway, and you'll still be using your Twice as Hot. So all in all, pretty much a nice, easy, versatile build, and allows you to play however you feel like playing. Now for the skill tree, like I said, we've kind of gone more anomaly creates firepower than anything else. I haven't gone the official just up here all the firepower route, because every time I tried it, it just didn't work that great. You may want to spec off, you may want to change it to your own playstyle, you may have a much better build. If you have, chuck it on. For me, this seemed to work really nicely. So just down the bottom, we've got increase your anomaly power by 6%. Just over here, increase your skill damage by 8% against marked enemies. More anomaly power, and that's by 6% again. And another 8% skill damage against marked enemies. Another 6% anomaly power, because remember, everything that's anomaly power pretty much goes over to our firepower anyway. And just down here, your firepower is increased by 15% of your anomaly power. Just up here, increase damage by 20% against enemies below 30% of health. This really helps against those really tougher enemies. Say for example, you were facing against Yagok, or you were facing against one of the really annoying kind of high health ones like Moloch. This is really nice. Just up here, and we've grabbed a little bit of extra health, because at the moment health is really nice. And of course, the moment burn ends on an enemy, inflict ash status. Main reason we're using this is to get to the top, to be perfectly honest, but this still can work really well in some cases. Say for example, you've shot at something and then you've had to turn around to shoot at something else, then ash applies to them and you can just turn around and completely take them out. Just up here, we're able to get weapon damage by 10% against marked enemies. And definitely one thing you want to pick up in this build is Hot Situation. Activating your immobilise skills increases your anomaly power by 45% for 10 seconds. This is going to make your skill moves, basically your heat waves and even your feed the flames, hit pretty hard. It really does, and the burn damage from them absolutely melts things. But of course, on top of that, because you're boosting your anomaly power all the way up, your firepower will go up as well. Now back down to the middle, I always pick one of these up, resistance by 20%. Really nice, keeps you alive against those kind of brood mothers and the really big enemies with the skill moves. Another health, and just down here, increased weapon damage after any skill activation by 20% for 7 seconds. Just up here, and we've got increase your skill leech by 6%. More health, more skill leech. Just over here, double skill leech when under 30% of max health. This keeps you alive without you knowing, especially in any build where you've got a bit of skill leech and you're hitting them with kind of continuous skill moves. Next up, and this one is just absolutely amazing in this build, enemies afflicted by burn receive 15% more damage. And last but not least, activating ignite skills increases your armor piercing by 45% and resistance piercing by 45% for 10 seconds. This one helps things fall over a lot, trust me, pick it up. But again, if you wanted to modify this or change it, you very well could. If you found yourself still falling over, which I don't think you would, but if you did, spec out of a couple of them, pick up this one and pick up this one, and you'll be nigh on immortal, you really will. But it's completely up to you. I find this works the best. If you want to muck around with the tree and make it your own, that would work as well. Right, all you guys and girls, I hope that's going to help a few of you out. I'm sure a few of you have probably tried some firepower builds. Maybe they've worked, maybe they haven't. I don't know, as early on I couldn't make all of them work. They were a bit of a pain. But honestly, this is a really nice one. It works really easy, and it's just fun to use. Run, gun, survive, and clear the content. As always, guys and girls, Full Things Gaming, Full Things Xbox. Take care. I'll see you on next day.